Thank you so much for coming. I see a lot of familiar faces. For those who don't know me, my name is Michael Motamedi. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Rabbit Hole. Over 2 years ago, I moved to the lovely city of Louisville to help one man's dream become a reality. To build a bourbon brand that was truly transparent and authentic, a brand that is built on a story of inspiration. Today, we are here to celebrate that dream come to fruition by opening the doors to this magnificent building. This building is a beacon guiding this amazing industry into the future. I remember one night in New York, Kaveh and myself were sitting in a lobby bar, as we always do, we're analyzing the back shelf. He turned to me and said, "Do you see something wrong?" And I didn't. The bar was immaculate and very well organized. He said, "Look at the scotch. It's front and center. There's over 50 different brands. Now look at the bourbon. It's put aside only with a handful of brands." He said, "Do you think if we were in Scotland, they would allow this?" And continued to remind me of his vision for all Americans to have pride in their native spirit the same way we do here in Kentucky. It's not just me that has fallen in love with Kaveh's vision. There are many of us. The team has gone from 3 to 20 in a year and a half. These days are long and sometimes the nights are longer, but we all understand what we are fighting for. We are fighting to be the next big bourbon brand out of Kentucky, and with this building completed, I believe all of our jobs just got a little bit easier. Thank you for being here on this special day. I would like to introduce you all to our next speaker, Gregory, the president of the Kentucky Distillers Association. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Derby Week. As I start, I usually start many of my remarks by saying, how do real Kentuckians enjoy their bourbon? Responsibly, yes, thank you. Remember, it's a long week. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Please enjoy responsibly. Well, Kaveh, congratulations. I'm telling you, what a fantastic way to embrace Derby Week. Our signature bourbon and distilled spirits industry is truly in a golden age. And we could not be more impressed with this facility that you built here. It's absolutely a modern monument to our legendary industry. Congratulations. When you think about our Kentucky Bourbon Trail and over 200 years of history and heritage, you know, I often sometimes wonder what our forefathers would think about what we're seeing here today. I mean, could they have ever imagined that we'd be here in Louisville, you know, hundreds of years later, celebrating this industry that has now grown to $8.5 billion, 17,500 jobs, $800 million in payroll, $1.2 billion, billion with a B, dollars in investment throughout the Commonwealth, and we're just beginning, right? I mean, it is absolutely fantastic. And for our visitors that are here for Derby, and the million-plus visitors we see every year on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail and the Kentucky Bourbon Trail Craft Tour, we can't wait for them to come and see Rabbit Hole. Because when you think about the future of bourbon tourism and the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, this is it. This is it. We have had a tremendous partnership with our government leaders like Mayor Fischer, the Kentucky General Assembly, and over the past few years, we've been able to pass some incredible legislation that really will help our distilleries achieve their Napa Valley potential. And Kaveh, you've done a wonderful job integrating that with food and cocktails and education. So they don't just come here and learn how bourbon is made, but you get to experience the complexities of Kentucky, our southern genteel spirit here, and the way that we have built bourbonism. Everybody drink. When they come and understand that bourbon is not just a spirit, it's not just a drink, it is jobs, it is investment, it is tax revenue, and it truly is the spirit of Kentucky. So Kaveh, again, on behalf of the KDA and our 39 members, congratulations. We're honored to be here today. We're so proud of what you've accomplished here, and we can't wait here in the next couple of months to formally and officially become a member of our Kentucky Bourbon Trail Tour. So congratulations.
I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Rebecca Matheny, Executive Director, Louisville Downtown Partnership. She's been instrumental with Kaveh from the beginning of growing this beautiful distillery. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Had a little bit of my share of rabbit hole. This is an incredibly exciting addition to our bourbon district, and I really want to thank the mayor and his incredible team, the LCVB, the KDA. We have so many great partners in making this grow, but none of them are as important as the facilities themselves. And this is just a terrific, forward-thinking, wonderful project. It's had a great team working on it. It's tied together Liberty Green and Nulu. That was the first project that I worked on when I came home to Louisville, and been working on this for a while. The Nulu Business Association has really been just absolutely fantastic in helping really imagine what this neighborhood could be moving forward. So I want to thank them. We also have really the privilege of being a partner in this project through our commercial loan fund. And so we were really incredibly thrilled to do that, even though it took a little bit of time. But so really, and the investment in the aesthetics, this project was, I think, the first to go through the Nulu overlay district, and they were incredibly great in terms of the vision and what they wanted this to look like, be like, and feel like. So thank you so much, Kaveh, and all of your team.
I'd like to introduce Mayor Greg Fischer, who's been obviously, as we all know, outstanding and building this urban bourbon trail, and thank you for being a part of Rabbit Hole as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I tell you what, our country has been built by great entrepreneurs. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a great entrepreneur right here. Guys like Kaveh see opportunity where others see, this is just going to be too hard, and come up with just not a tremendous concept, but then the style with which this project was envisioned and completed and to where it's going to go is something that puts a big smile on my face when I think about the future of our city. Look at the architectural beauty of this project. So what's so neat about bourbonism is we can go in beautiful adaptive reuse buildings. We can have tremendous modern architectural jewels like this. But they all say the same thing. They say, welcome, come in, experience the best of what we have to offer. And putting together something like this with all the puzzles of not just the experience center and the distillery and the marketing and the team just takes extraordinary talent and tenacity, persistence behind this. So, Kaveh, I just want to say, great job, man. I mean, you're really inspiring not just the bourbon industry, but entrepreneurs all over the country as well. Really impressive, really impressive. And Eric and I were just talking, just the tremendous momentum that we have with bourbonism right now. And think about this, folks. So I'm a business guy that just happens to be mayor. But we could double the size of our bourbon industry right now and just be back to where bourbon was in the 1970s, okay? Bourbon has about 10% of the global market share of Scotch. So think about that in terms of the growth profile that we have in front of us. We could double the size of the bourbon industry and still only have 20% of the global share when you put Scotch and bourbon together. So this is my way of saying this is all just beginning. And when we look back in the history of this 20 and 40 years from now, it'll be people like Kaveh that made a bet on our community where others said, you're putting too much money in this. Are you sure you want to do this? And we've seen is not just a great layup financially, but a tremendous boost for where our city is going right now. Our city's got incredible momentum. We got $13 billion of construction going on in all parts of our city. So we're going through a tremendous renaissance. And bourbonism is at the heart of that renaissance when you think about a placemaking strategy. And when you think about where we're at right now, in the heart of Nulu, and what's happened from our medical district, to Liberty Green, now to Nulu, to going to the soccer stadium district, and then to Waterfront Park. There's not going to be a finer stretch of Americana anywhere else in our country. And it's happening because of everybody here. See a lot of investors in this area that maybe thought 10 years ago, Gil Holland, I don't know if this is possible, but people stepped up and did the right thing at the right time. Karen Williams, with what you've done with our Convention and Visitors Bureau, where right now we're all around the world promoting bourbonism, having record amounts of tourists coming to our city that are going to be stopping here at Rabbit Hole. Ben, with what you're doing with cycling, and now bike and breakfast over here is an incredible concept that you're going to be full all the time. Your people are going to be coming here to Rabbit Hole. We got one of Marriott's new properties right here. So there's just wonderful things going on in our city. So we're all busy. Take a breath every once in a while to really appreciate the good work that we've got going on in our city, and we're doing it together. I want to thank our Louisville Forward team, Mary Ellen Wiederwall and her team over there, for helping make this project possible as well. But none of it would have happened, Kaveh, without you and your team. So please come up. I would like to proclaim the brilliance of Rabbit Hole Distilling on its opening in Nulu. In short time, Rabbit Hole has gained loyal fans of its terrific spirits. This state-of-the-art distillery joins Louisville's flourishing bourbonism scene to give those fans a place to enjoy and learn more about this beautiful craft of bourbon. So, Kaveh, thank you so much. Great job.
You're good, man.
No introduction needed for our founder of Rabbit Hole and whiskey maker, Kaveh Zamanian. Thank you.
Been waiting for this day for a long time. I got to have my notes here. First of all, I want to say thanks to all of you. Mayor Fischer, your support's been unbelievable. I think there's no way a project like this could have happened in a city like Chicago or New York at the pace and the way it happened. So thank you very much. Eric, KDA is a phenomenal organization in terms of lobbying for distillers in Kentucky. And what you guys have done in your team has just been superb. So thank you. And Rebecca, as you mentioned, you guys have been here with us from the beginning, from the loan, and everything else you've done. Thanks again. This is a day a lot of people have been waiting for, a few of us for many years. We're opening Kentucky's newest whiskey distillery. Out of nothing, on a place that was a rundown warehouse and a vacant lot. There is now this place, all you beautiful people, and the joyful products that we'll be crafting out of this facility. I'm reminded of a Persian poet, Khayyam, who said, "Be happy for this moment is your life." So let me take a moment to look across and look at all you beautiful people, because this is priceless. Thank you for being here. We don't always know what compels us to start something new. It's usually a yearning for something more. Rabbit Hole started because as a consumer of bourbon, I was a little tired with the monotony, same recipes, a familiar story. I was struck how after Prohibition, corporate consolidation had reduced what had been a vast number of local family-owned distilleries into a handful of big players. Now those players deserve credit, a lot of credit. Kentucky and Louisville owe them a great debt. But that consolidation also left behind the diversity and creativity that once was a major driver of commerce and economic activity in Louisville. And that is the business of making whiskey. Freud said, "Dreams are often most profound when they seem most crazy." My crazy dream was to be part of a bourbon's revival and add to its grand tradition by building a spectacular modern distillery that makes innovative products, competes with the industry giants who had put bourbon on the map, and makes the process of making whiskey and everyone involved the heroes of our story. From the beginning, I set out to build a brand that raises the bar. A modern, distinct, authentic, and innovative brand that is built in a place of provenance. A place that is rooted in tradition, but is also forward-thinking. A place that embodies bourbon's creative spirit. For Rabbit Hole, I couldn't have imagined a better place than Louisville, Kentucky. Our city itself is a wonderful mix of tradition and modernity. An urban hub on the Ohio, a place where Midwestern grit and Southern hospitality come together in one magnificent place. And here in Nulu, the city's most creative core, where innovators and entrepreneurs define their own dreams. This is where Rabbit Hole started. Now, dreams are wonderful, but they don't become a reality without the right team. So I'd like to acknowledge a few people today. The Distillery project itself started with a conversation with Doug Pearson, the architect of this magnificent distillery. Our collaboration started over 3 years ago with a conversation about one of my favorite modern architects, Mies van der Rohe, and my desire to build a distillery that invokes a sense of reverence and represents our basic principles as a brand. You'll soon get to see the building from inside out, but I can tell you that Doug not only beautifully captured my vision, he worked diligently in translating and adapting van der Rohe's dictum of form follows function to form follows process. What that means is that he designed a modernist cathedral built around the process of making bourbon. Every aspect of the building is designed to follow and pay respect to the art and science of distilling. Rabbit Hole's mission of transparency is not an empty marketing slogan or a simple cliche. It is a reality in our distillery. As you walk through the distillery today, you will see windows to every part of our operation. From grain to glass, every step of the process is honored and in proud view. It is a fully immersive experience from the first step to the last. It is deliberately designed to excite, inform, and entertain our guests. Doug, I am so grateful for your hard work. In addition to Doug, I can't say enough. Thank you. Stand up. There you go. In addition to Doug, I can't say enough about the team of professionals who for the last 3 years worked tirelessly to make this dream come to life. There are many, but I have to highlight a few. Luckett & Farley Engineering Firm, thank you Kyle Beasley and team. Vitalk Engineering, thank you Patrick Kelty and team. Vendome, Copper and Brass, Mike Sherman, family, Gordon, thank you very much. Prodigy, our construction team with Steve Bosco at the helm, and our superintendent, the conductor, who I called Maestro himself, without whom we would not be here today, Keith Staples. I also like to thank Sam Tutunchian from Tuton Construction, who, as our construction manager, came here leaving his cushy job at Google to be part of the bourbon revival here in Louisville. A special thanks to both you, Sam and Keith. Every trade and every person on this job knew that this is a special project, that we're building an iconic building, and I can tell you that they all gave it their heart and soul, and I am forever grateful for their craftsmanship and dedication. I don't get to do this every day, so I'm going to say a few more things. There are a couple of folks here that I have to mention. And it ties into what Mayor Fischer was saying about entrepreneurship. It takes a special person to join a startup. Not everyone is cut out for it. In fact, most people aren't. There are certain personality types, individuals who are attracted and thrive in the entrepreneur culture. They have to have certain traits. A little bit of a gambler in them, the outlaw, creator, explorer, but all of them passionate persons. The high risk of startup demands courage. It requires people who not only believe in the company's mission and vision, but are focused, patient, persistent, and work with grit and determination. Individuals who are not taken back by a challenge, who are able to live with uncertainty, are collaborative, and most importantly, are proud to stand on their merits. There are two individuals here today who are the embodiment of these characters. They took significant pay cuts, took a lot of risk leaving their jobs, gave up the security of those positions, and took a chance to be a part of a startup venture that as recent as a year and a half ago was still considered a pipe dream. Today I want to recognize them for their contribution, dedication, and tireless work in helping me shape the basic DNA and culture of Rabbit Hole. Cameron Talley. Masters in chemical engineering from our own U of L. 7 years at Wild Turkey and then Brown Forman. One of Jimmy Russell's favorites. Jimmy told me that I have his best man, and I can tell you firsthand that Jimmy don't lie. Cameron could work at any distillery in Kentucky or around the country, but he took a chance with me in Rabbit Hole. As the head of our operation, he has been a key player in all aspects of production, equipment design, and operation. Thank you for your hard work. And Michael Motamedi. For those of you who don't know, Michael's an interesting bird. He's a Master Chef Canada finalist. He was a successful restaurateur and entrepreneur in his own right. He joined me over 2 years ago. He is, as he mentioned, our Chief Marketing Officer, an incredibly talented person who in our first conversation on the phone told me, and pardon me, I'm batshit crazy. Then he agreed to come to Louisville for a visit, and in a matter of weeks decided to move from Toronto to Louisville. He is my right-hand man and a key collaborator and co-architect of our brand. Thank you. In closing, I'd like to say I've always been a fan of a good story. The story of Rabbit Hole started with a girl. As most of you know, I met and fell in love with my wife, Heather, in Chicago 15 years ago. From the beginning, we shared a love for building, renovating, and creating together. From our first home in Chicago to this beautiful distillery, through it all, she has been my inspiration and my anchor. As a native Kentuckian, she introduced me to bourbon and watched me fall for bourbon the way I fell for her. That was the beginning of this dream and our journey down the rabbit hole. Together with our 3 children, Henry, Lilia, and Isabella, they have been the backbone of my life and my work. For 6 years, she and the kids stood by me, and I'm getting a little emotional here, sorry guys, as I embarked on this wild and incredible journey. And here we are today. Thank you. During this time, in the past 6 years, together as a family, we have realized that our little enterprise, bourbon, is larger than us. That we are joining a proud tradition that is not only part of Kentucky, but the American landscape. From the earliest days of the American Revolution, whiskey has been part of the fabric of our culture. And at this distillery, the spirits it will produce and the brand it will represent will be here long after we're gone. So we are here now only as its stewards until the next generation steps in. As a family, we hope that you are pleased with what you see today and proud of our contribution to Louisville, Kentucky, and our industry. Thank you.